Hello, I'm Abhinav and I'm studying in grade 11 at Little Flower Junior College. Today, I'm going to speak about major reforms and innovations required in various fields for progress in our country. And starting off, the first major reform that should take place in our country must be privatization of a public sector. Let me explain this by giving an example. People of the present era prefer private schools instead of government ones. This is because private schools may offer facilities like better hygiene, specialized teachers, and better infrastructure than that compared to the ones provided by government schools. This is not the case in Western countries like the US. This is because all the facilities provided in the government schools in the US are on par with the facilities provided in the private schools in US. The best possible solution to this in India is privatization of the public sector, along with surveillance from the government. And moving on, the next reform that I would like to suggest is to provide more employment opportunities. 1 in 3 formally trained youth were unemployed in 2017-18 according to the Periodic Labor Force Survey 2017-18. Though the government has initiated MGNREGA, which stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which guarantees 100 days of work, it may not be possible to reach out to all unemployed people. And also, this scheme provides subsidies to the people who are unemployed and unable to find the job. The best way to solve unemployment is to increase the number of jobs in the private sector and the public sector, and mainly increasing the number of jobs in the service sector may provide better job opportunities and people start taking interest in their jobs. People may venture into disguised employment because of lack of job opportunities and lesser remuneration than their educational qualification. Moving on, I would like to point out the biggest problem of India. It is corruption. Corruption, as long as we are unable to eradicate this menace called corruption, or at least try to bring it to minimum, India would always remain as a developing country. It is because of this corruption that 2 additional sectors are being formed in the society. They are the rich and the poor. With every bribe that is paid or accepted, the gap between the rich and the poor keeps increasing. Corruption can be mitigated by engaging different special committees, specially employed for keeping the various activities of politicians and other government officials and also private officials in check. We can reduce corruption by increasing direct contact between the government and the governed. Another problem that I would like to address is pending justice. Delivery of justice is a time-taking process. Sometimes justice may take decades and maybe even a lifetime. People spend a lot of time attending court sessions and they still can't be assured of complete justice. Justice is the right of every citizen in India. Assurance of justice will help build the trust of citizens in the country's government. Going ahead, another problem in India is a fake news menace. Misinformation, hate speech, and false propaganda on social media are dividing India's communities. Hence, the spreading of fake news can be prevented if the social media giants put restrictions such as banning the accounts of the people who try to spread fake news. One popular app where fake news becomes viral easily is WhatsApp. I personally have experienced this. Another reform that I would like to suggest is to provide relaxations to MNCs who want to set up their units in India. MNCs prefer setting up their production units in countries where the labor is cheap and affordable. But India is not one such country. India has many labor restrictions and the labor laws are very strict. So a few relaxations would help MNCs to set up their units in India. This would help India to develop at a faster rate. Another advice that I would like to give is to increase the number of seats in universities, colleges and technological institutes. The number of seats in prestigious institutions stays limited. Everyone has the right to get educated. By increasing the number of seats, there may be a possibility of increasing the number of educated people in India. At present, the literacy rate is just 74.04%. India will become a developed country if it is able to achieve 100% of literacy rate. Moreover, students should study to gain knowledge and not with the sole aim of scoring marks. India is considered to be a country where most of the study is theoretical and not based on practical knowledge and skills. Practical knowledge and skills must be developed and theoretical knowledge must be applied in real life. Another thing is that infrastructure. Infrastructure is another thing that must be improved. India needs to work swiftly on its infrastructure development. towards better roads, affordable housing, and services like water, sanitation, primary healthcare, etc. India is the second most populous country in the world at 1.3 billion people. If we somehow are able to increase the per capita income of the country, it would indicate a rise in the standard of living of people. And when the standard of living of people rises, it means development, economic development. Finally, if we are able to solve these problems and implement the reforms that I had mentioned previously, it may help our country to progress. We may not be able to solve all the problems as problems keep arising one after another, but we of course can solve at least a few problems to make our India a better place to live in. India has come a long way since independence and will for sure go further ahead. Thank you.